So if you take outcome 1.1, person-centered care, we've identified 3 concepts that are high risk, and they are culturally safe care, diversity, and trauma-aware and healing-informed care. So is education needed on these concepts? Yes, absolutely. But what's the rationale for that? I'd like to refer to, there's actually a mention of this in page 6 of the evidence mapping framework that says auditors will ask for evidence on what training or information workers received on this specific topic. So there's our rationale. It may not have featured as high risk in your gap analysis when you look at the topic, but if we think of it in the context of what might transpire within an audit, that has, as a result of our criteria, pushed that up to high risk. So we will specifically be asked during an audit what training evidence on these topics we can provide. But what are some other secondary strategies? Are they needed to help meet this outcome? We believe that absolutely yes. To incorporate a person-centered care approach into a service, education isn't going to be the only vehicle for implementing and achieving this outcome. Having really good processes and policies in mind, ensuring that they're effective, that everything's talking together, is obviously going to assist in delivering this education. So on this call, I know we have, it's lovely to see some familiar faces, lots of people that use AusMed's library and our LMS. So to help those people, I'm going to be showing some of the resources relating to each outcome that we think maps to these requirements. But, I just want to stress that there are many, many, many more in the library that can support your different job roles, durations, facilities, etc., to achieve the particular learning outcome. So you're just seeing a snippet. But of course, on this module, there's a couple, on this topic, there's a couple of modules in front of you. And I think module 1, it's our module on standard 1, it's about 10 minutes. It went live last week. It's already receiving great reviews. So that covers this particular outcome really well. Outcome 1.2, dignity, respect, and privacy. We have identified one key concept here, and it relates to older persons' rights. Again, is education needed on this? Our response is yes. The rationale for this is that if we think big picture, what are we trying to achieve at the moment? There's multiple legislative requirements outside of just the quality standards. There really is a strong focus right now on embedding a rights-based approach in the new Act. And of course, there are some specific audit requirements where this training evidence on this particular topic will be collected. So you can see that we have the corresponding AusMed module that's on the Charter of Aged Care Rights and Code of Conduct that tries to incorporate those multiple legislative requirements from this content. 1.3, choice, independence, and quality of life. We've identified 1 high-risk concept, dignity of risk, and then 2 moderate risk. So that's on informed consent and intimacy. Again, we ask, is education needed? You can see we're trying to take that same consistent approach to every single outcome, and the answer is yes. What's the rationale for it? Again, I point to page 10 of the evidence mapping framework, where there's both audit requirements and training evidence that will be collected on the topic. And if you take something like informed consent, clearly there's a notable impact on a person if this isn't done properly. So therefore, the secondary strategy that we recommend to go hand in hand with achieving this particular outcome is having those effective systems and processes in place for informed consent. So really looking at how can education partner with another initiative to really assist the whole of our organisation in meeting this particular outcome. Remember, education is a powerful vehicle, but it's not the only vehicle that we can use to achieve a particular outcome. So here's a couple of those corresponding AusMed modules, 4, 1 and 3, and you can see there's a couple of modules here that have recently been updated. So there's that badge to look out for. Outcome 1.4, transparency and agreements. We actually didn't identify any high-risk elements here. And I want to just highlight that this doesn't mean that we don't think open disclosure isn't critical. Open disclosure absolutely is, but I've assessed this to be higher risk and deemed to be more appropriately addressed in the context of standard 2 rather than standard 1. So you'll see in a minute that that's where we've assessed open disclosure as a higher risk.